Hey there everybody, welcome back to the Deep Fog. For those who are unaware, we have just recently received a brand new trailer for Return to Silent Hill, the third film in the Silent Hill franchise. For those who also don't know, it's based off Silent Hill 2, which is my favorite game ever, of all time, forever. I love this game to my core, and since this is the first full-length trailer we've actually received, I thought it'd be fun to do a trailer analysis. I've never done one before, but I felt like of all things I could do a trailer analysis of, it would be this. So I'm really excited to talk about this trailer. You know, I have some thoughts, a lot of thoughts, so I will be sharing those throughout, but also talking about what I think this movie is actually going to end up being like. For those who haven't seen, I also released another video about Return to Silent Hill if you're interested. Kind of just talking about the release date and what we knew about it at the time, but obviously we know a lot more now, so I'm super excited to get into this. The trailer opens with a shot of our main character, James Sunderland, looking at what appears to be a painting of Maria. Along with this, we can hear the song Promise begin to play in the background, which sounds pretty much unchanged from the original Silent Hill 2. This probably assumes that the film will be following the same thing that the first film did, which was using the soundtracks from the games, which I am stoked for. Silent Hill 2 has an incredible soundtrack, and this is a great song to choose for the background of this trailer. Now, this shot could insinuate a lot of things. A lot of people are assuming that this means that they're making James into a painter, which would be an interesting choice and also leave some questions as why he may be painting Maria. This seems to be something completely original for the film, and trust me, that's not going to be the last time that something in this trailer seems to be setting up something original for the film. However, all we can really infer from this is that he has some feelings towards what is painted in front of him, which appears to be Maria, which is following in the footsteps of the game. Next up, we get a scene of James entering the bathroom from the beginning of the game, which looks extremely similar, by the way, and is actually probably one of the most accurate looking shots in this trailer to the original game. The shot after that, though, is actually very interesting, as we see James driving in the rain on what appears to be close to a cliff. In my personal opinion, although this might be a stretch, I have a feeling this could be insinuating that we might be getting the in-water ending in this movie. For those unaware, the in-water ending involves James actually driving himself into the lake and drowning. This scene gives off a very eerie vibe, and James looks like he has quite the intention in his eye to do something that's probably not very good, and I think that might be what's happening here. However, it's also very possible this could just be a scene of him driving to Silent Hill, closer to the beginning of the film, but my insinuation is this might be referencing the in-water ending. Immediately after this, we then hear a voiceover of Mary reading her note in her voice, and then some clips of what I believe to be the best thing in this trailer, which is we are going to be getting some pre-Mary death footage of James and Mary's relationship. I think this is an amazing choice, especially for a movie. Seeing the relationship be developed like this and seeing scenes like this looks beautiful. You can even see the Lakeview sign behind them in this scene, that we're gonna actually see Lakeview Hotel before everything that happens, and hopefully this is a good sign. Even in the background of this scene, it kind of looks like moths, which could be hinting that this scene might be James having an illusion, while this is actually Maria. I don't know, that could be definitely a stretch, but it could also be just some sort of symbolism for Maria. But I do like this scene. I think these are some of the best scenes in the whole trailer. Next up is nothing too crazy, just some shots of Silent Hill, which, by the way, do look very good. I think they've captured the atmosphere very, very well in these scenes. And I believe this opening scene is very likely James entering into town, and that building kind of reminds me of the building whenever we run into Angela in the cemetery. So this could be James's first interaction with Angela, or right before he meets her. Now, this next section is something that kind of confused me, and yet kind of intrigued me, is we do hear Maria say,
"Everyone got sick in Silent Hill."
Which is a fascinating line to include in the first trailer for this movie. It just feels so odd for them to be talking about this, Maria and James, I mean. Now, in the game, it is briefly mentioned that there was an illness that went around Silent Hill, and, you know, them talking about their old residents of Silent Hill. I don't know. To me, it's giving off some vibes that, again, this is inevitable for this film, but I just feel like some things are going to be thrown in that aren't really from the original. Things are going to be changed, which is inevitable, of course. But this very much gives off the vibes of, why are they talking about this? What does this really have to do with James's story? Why is this a discussion other than James maybe talking about, like, why is Silent Hill so empty? But I do worry that something about this movie is this little section might be giving me a bit of a fear that we're going to talk too much about things that don't really have to do with James and get a little too sidetracked from James's story to talk more about Silent Hill. Hopefully, that's not the case. Again, this is just one little clip from a trailer. Just throwing that out there as a possibility. Now, these next couple of shots here bring me back in because these clearly are some very accurate shots of what appears to be James's first encounter with a monster from the original game, where he runs into the, oh my god, what are they called? This seems to be a very clear callback to the first interaction James has with the lying figure from the underpass and the radio. All of it does seem pretty accurate, and I actually really like the way these shots look. We do then get a very extended look at the town of Silent Hill and what appears to be the other world kind of coming into the real world. And I do like the interpretation here of almost like the viney, like kind of reminds me of Stranger Things, vines just coming out, but like overtaking the whole world. It does look pretty cool, and I like this, concept for the other world here. And yeah, honestly, I mean, the town looks great. Again, all of these shots of Silent Hill itself really does look good. And the final shot of the lying figure standing outside the underpass, again, very reminiscent of the first meeting with a lying figure in the original game. And I just really like the way these shots look. And even the movements on the lying figure are pretty creepy. And this VFX looks really good, actually. This scene is clearly the same scene from the game where James and Angela find themselves bump into each other in the Woodside Apartments. And I actually do find it interesting, Angela's actress seems to be cast a little bit older. As we know in the game, she is intentionally kind of modeled to look older, as she has been very aged up by a lot of the stuff that has happened to her. And again, this is a very quick shot, so it's hard to tell, but from what this looks like, the room looks pretty accurate. I like the way that this scene is looking so far. Angela is going to be a very, very tricky character because they got to be careful what they do and don't change about her. I feel like she is just such a perfect character already that I'm really hoping they really stick to her character. Now on to one of my other favorite shots of the trailer is this scene with the moss covering the windows. Clearly, we're entering the other world in this scene, and I love this imagery. The red and the moths, the Maria symbolism clearly seems to be on point in this movie, and I do like that a lot. I like that we're sticking to that from the original game. They're going to take one thing from the game. It's good they're taking that at least. I'm not sure if something specific might be happening in this scene. This could be just the other world changing maybe after James has found out about something or something like that. Now, in this next shot, we get our first look at Pyramid Head looking into the closet, which also appears to be a callback to the game scene. And then we actually, during this scene, overhear Eddie talking about Pyramid Head, calling James Jimmy and telling him that he woke Pyramid Head up.
You did it, didn't you, Jimmy? You woke him up.
This is very interesting. I also find it fascinating that it almost seems like they've also aged up Eddie. It kind of feels like everyone in this movie except Laura has been very aged up from their in-game counterparts, which, I don't really mind. I think it'll be up to how the movie does their characters, how it looks. Again, I know Eddie is older, but this Eddie looks like older. It also brings a lot of questions forth about why does he know about Pyramid Head? Why is he calling James Jimmy? I mean, that one could just be something they threw in for his character to call James, but I don't know. There's a lot of weird questions here. And clearly, again, some differences from the game. Probably that other people know of Pyramid Head. Again, we'll just have to see how they do that. In the next shot, we get a scene of the Lakeview Hotel burning down, which, once again, this is also a very interesting scene as We never see this happen in the game, but it is inferred that the hotel did burn down at some point, and James just didn't know about this, and while he was in his kind of Silent Hill facade, he kind of just believed everything was good. So this could be kind of a weird mixture of that lore, and maybe we're just saying it is burning down while he's in Silent Hill. There could be some explanation for it. We'll just have to see, but I'm not going to immediately write this one off as being too weird. We then get our first look at Laura, and I gotta be honest with you, chat. I don't love this. I don't like how they're trying to make her scary for some reason. Like, she looks scary. Now, I will commend them. Apparently, this is actually the same actress who played her in the remake, which is awesome because she was great in the remake. But the way they've made her look here, the way she's talking, it's like they want you to feel like she's some sort of ghost girl. Like, I get it, it's a horror movie, but Laura is not that. It's going to be really frustrating if they try to make her this, like, scary, like, oh, look at this demon child, and look how scary she is. Like, that is not her character, and I would really dislike that. We then get these two pretty quick shots of James sitting down on a couch in what appears to be a place on fire, presumably Lakeview Hotel, assuming he enters during the fire. I even want to throw it out here that this could be the scene that he learns what he did to Mary, and maybe it's just very reworked and he's kind of in the hotel during the fire learning this. It could be something, but this could also just be him possibly seeing Maria or experiencing something traumatic or something where he's sitting down like this. And then we cut to a scene of Eddie laughing. This also could be a scene of him kind of breaking. This could be him laughing at James or laughing at the situation. Again, it's kind of hard to tell, especially just from the background he's in, but you know, these are very quick shots. It's kind of hard to say a lot about these. Now, this next shot, I have a lot to say about it. For anyone with a keen eye who's played Silent Hill 2, you probably immediately notice this is clearly the scene where Angela walks up into the fiery staircase and presumably kills herself. If you're paying attention to the trailer, that is Mary at the bottom of the stairs. I don't like this. This is really weird, and this makes me really concerned for the way they're going to go about Angela's story, because the fact that they have put Mary in this scene clearly shows that I think this director, as he has shown from the first film, he's good at keeping very similar visuals to the games, but not very good at conveying what they actually mean and what they're there for. And it clearly feels like this scene is probably going to be used for a whole different purpose that isn't about Angela, and I hate that. That really sucks, and I really hope that's not what's happening here, but I mean, this is pretty much a one-for-one scene of the Angela staircase scene, minus the fact that it's Mary instead of Angela, which just doesn't make sense, and I'm afraid that they're gonna go the whole, like, Mary is a ghost route, which is even worse. I pray to God that's not what's happening here, but we'll just have to see. Now, we're kind of combining a lot of these clips together here, as it's kind of a lot of the same stuff, but we do get a look at the nurses, which appear to have a bit of a newer design. Why they chose to do this, I'm not sure. Maybe there's an explanation. Maybe we'll find out after the movie comes out why they decided to do this. I do just find it kind of funny that the movie that wasn't based on the second game has more accurate designs to the second game than the actual movie that's based on the second game. Did that make any fucking sense? Maybe it was to make this movie feel like their monster designs are standing out a little bit. I don't hate it. I mean, it still looks like the nurses, but there's clearly some changes to them, which is fine. It's just definitely notable. We also get some other looks at James and Maria, which I think Maria looks fine. I know when the original teasers were coming out for this that a lot of people were not a fan of Maria, but I really think she looks perfectly good in some of these teasers. Although I do suppose it is a little concerning we're not seeing a lot of her in this trailer, but again, that's probably just nitpicking. I will also say I think most of these scenes are probably happening in the hospital, duh, but I do like the way, again, the sets and stuff are looking here. And I do think this last shot might actually be the scene of James and Maria running from Pyramid Head. I'm not certain on that. That one could be a stretch, but I have a feeling that might be what the scene is. And then once again, right here, we get a very incredible shot of James standing on what appears to be the roof at the Lakeview Hotel while it's on fire, which probably does confirm he is going into the hotel while it's on fire, and that's going to be a direction the film takes that's different from the game. And we see hands reaching out, which is presumably Maria / Mary, aka the final boss of the game. And just from these hands, I have a feeling this design is going to be really sick. I do like the way this is interpreted here, and I think this is a really, really good shot. Not really much to say about it. It's clearly just the ending of the game. But damn, this looks really promising. This specific scene where he is almost like letting her hold him, even though it's probably some amalgamation behind the screen. That's just so cool. And so fitting as well. So then in this final shot, we see James clearly freaking out, or something's going on. He's tweaking a little bit. I think this is close to the final Pyramid Head fight, whenever he's finally realizing what's going on. Perhaps he's approaching it. Perhaps this is in the hallway when he's hearing Mary's speech. Something of the sorts. Either way, this is James finally having his break and realizing why he's truly here, at least in my opinion. And I think this is a pretty good shot and a cool way to end the trailer. So yeah, that's about all I've got for the Return to Silent Hill trailer. Overall, it's got some stuff I really like, and honestly, cinematography wise and the way that they've done a lot of these scenes, they do look pretty accurate. My main concern lies in the adaptation of the story. It's kind of the same concerns I had with the Silent Hill 2 remake before it came out, but the Silent Hill 2 remake did surprise me with how good it was, so maybe this movie will do the same. But I can't help but feel a couple of concerns, considering the same director as the first movie is back, and the first movie had its own flaws in the story department with random changes that didn't really need to be made, and certain directions they went I didn't love as much. So we'll just have to see. Of course, I'll be making a video as soon as I do watch the movie. I'll probably have a lot of thoughts, but yeah, this was overall not the worst trailer we could have gotten, but just feeling a little cautious. So anyways, that's about all. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Also, I think the tagline, "You live here now," is really stupid. I don't get it. Why did they choose that?